The penthouse suite on the 42nd floor of the Meridian Grand Hotel was supposed to be empty. Ashley Bennett had checked the system twice before sliding her master keycard through the electronic lock. She'd been working doubles all week, her body aching from scrubbing marble floors for guests who never looked her in the eye. The penthouse was her last stop before she could finally go home to Jacob, who was waiting with Megan next door. The door swung open silently. Ashley pushed her cart inside, already mentally cataloguing the tasks ahead. The suite was dark except for the golden glow of Chicago's skyline bleeding through floor-to-ceiling windows. Then she saw him. A man sat motionless in the leather chair facing the windows, dark hair, broad shoulders, completely still. Ashley's heart seized. The system had said empty. "I'm so sorry, sir," she stammered, backing toward the door. The system showed this suite as vacant. "I'll come back. Close the door." His voice cut through the darkness like a blade. Smooth, controlled, distinctly accented. Korean, she thought, and absolutely not a request. The man rose and turned toward her. Even in the dim light, she could see he was beautiful in a dangerous way. Sharp cheekbones, intense eyes, a jawline that could cut glass. He wore a white dress shirt with the top 4 buttons undone, revealing a muscular chest and a delicate tattoo of Korean script running vertically down the side of his neck. "What's your name?" he asked, moving closer. Ashley Bennett." Ashley. He tested her name like he was tasting wine. "You're going to do exactly as I say. Do you understand?" Before she could answer, voices erupted in the hallway outside, harsh, speaking rapid Russian. The man's entire demeanor changed, his jaw tightening, his eyes going cold. He crossed the space between them in 3 strides, his hand closing around her wrist. Not painfully, but firmly. "Those men are dangerous," he said, his voice low and urgent. "When they come through that door, you are my wife. You belong to me. You're here because this is our suite. Can you do that?" Every rational thought told her to scream, to run, but something in his eyes, a flash of genuine concern beneath the cold authority, made her nod. "Good girl," he murmured, and pulled her closer, just as the door exploded inward. 3 large men in dark suits filled the doorway with violence written across their faces. "Kang Dae-hyun," the man in front said, his accent thick, his smile showing too many teeth. "We heard you were in Chicago. Thought we'd pay our respects." The man holding Ashley's wrist, Dae-hyun, didn't release her. Instead, his thumb traced a small circle against her pulse point, monitoring her heartbeat. "Victor," Dae-hyun replied, bored amusement in his voice. "I wasn't aware I needed to report my travel plans to the Bratva." Victor's smile disappeared. His eyes shifted to Ashley, traveling over her with an assessment that made her skin crawl. "And who is this? I heard the great Kang Dae-hyun traveled alone these days." Dae-hyun's grip tightened fractionally. "My wife, Ashley. We prefer to keep our private life private." Victor's eyes narrowed. "Wife? How unexpected. I heard no whispers of a wedding." "That's because you're not invited to hear whispers about my personal affairs." Dae-hyun pulled Ashley closer, his arms sliding around her waist. "Darling, these gentlemen were just leaving." Ashley could feel the heat of his body, could smell his cologne, expensive and subtly spiced. His hand splayed across her hip, possessive and warm. "Actually," Victor said, taking a step into the suite, "I think we'll stay a while. Get to know your wife." The 2 men flanking Victor moved forward. Dae-hyun's jaw tightened. His thumb resumed its gentle circling. "Stay calm, I've got you. My wife had a long flight. She's tired. I don't entertain uninvited guests." Dae-hyun's voice dropped to something dangerous. "I'm sure even the Bratva understands basic hospitality. Just let me send a quick message to my associates," Victor said, pulling out his phone. "Let them know the situation." Ashley's stomach dropped. He was going to verify the claim, and when he found out the truth, "Take your time," Dae-hyun said, unconcerned, "though I should mention that my associate Park In-ho is currently 3 floors down with a team. If I don't message him in 5 minutes, he'll assume there's a problem, and In-ho is less diplomatic than I am." Victor's fingers paused on his phone. The men beside him shifted, hands moving toward jacket pockets. "No need for unpleasantness," Victor said finally. "Perhaps we'll have dinner while we're all in Chicago. Get properly acquainted." "Perhaps," Dae-hyun replied, making it clear that hell would freeze over first. Victor's eyes lingered on Ashley. "She's very beautiful. Congratulations, Kang Dae-hyun. I hope it brings you great happiness." The way he said happiness made it sound like a threat. Then Victor turned and left, his men following. The moment the door clicked shut, Dae-hyun moved, engaging every lock. Then he pulled out his phone and typed rapidly. Ashley stood frozen, her body shaking. Russian mob. A Korean man who had claimed her as his wife. This couldn't be real. "Sit down," Dae-hyun said. Ashley's legs obeyed. She sank onto the sofa, hands twisted in her lap. Dae-hyun poured 2 glasses of whiskey and pressed one into her hands. "Drink. You're in shock." Ashley took a sip, the burn steadying her. She looked up at him. "What just happened?" "My name is Kang Dae-hyun. I run a family business with interests throughout Asia and the United States. Those men work for Viktor Petrov, Russian mob. They now believe you're my wife, which means you're in danger." "Danger? I have a son. I can't be in danger. I'll tell them the truth." "No." Dae-hyun crouched before her. "The moment you tell them the truth, you become worthless. And worthless people who know too much don't live long. The only thing keeping you safe is their belief that you matter to me. But I don't matter to you. You don't know me. That's irrelevant. Victor saw me protect you. He'll have people researching you by morning. When they don't find a marriage certificate..." He stood, frustration crossing his features. "We need to make this real, temporarily." "Make what real?" "The marriage. You'll move into this suite tonight. Be seen with me. We'll create a paper trail. In exchange, I'll ensure you're protected, compensated, and that your son is safe." Ashley's mind reeled. "My son, Jacob, oh God, where is he now?" "With my friend Megan. She lives in my building in Bridgeport." Dae-hyun handed her his phone. "Call, but don't mention what happened." Ashley dialed with shaking fingers. Megan answered immediately. "Hey girl, where you at? Jacob's getting sleepy." "I'm sorry, Meg, work emergency. I should be done in an hour." "You okay? You sound weird." Ashley's eyes met Dae-hyun's. "I'm fine, just tired. Thank you." She ended the call and returned the phone. "I need to go home. I need to see my son." "You will. But first I need to know everything about you that Victor's people might discover." The clinical way he said it sent a chill through Ashley. This was his world, where people were chess pieces. "Ashley Marie Bennett. I live at 2847 South Union in Bridgeport. My son is Jacob, 8 years old. His father died in a car accident when I was pregnant. I have a younger sister, Lauren, in college. I help pay her tuition. I work 2 jobs. 23,000 in student loan debt from nursing school I had to drop out of when my mum got sick. She died 3 years ago. No other family. No criminal record. I'm nobody important." Dae-hyun had been typing notes. When she finished, he looked up. "Nobody unimportant keeps her composure the way you did when Victor walked in. You may be a housekeeper, but you're not nobody." The unexpected gentleness caught her off guard. Dae-hyun's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, expression hardening. "Victor has men positioned in the lobby and on the street. They're watching. You can't leave alone, and you definitely can't go back to your apartment tonight." Panic flared. "I have to get Jacob. I'll send Nathan, my driver, with security. They'll pick up your son and bring him here. Your friend won't see them, but you need to trust me. Right now, the safest place for both of you is with me." Ashley wanted to argue, but she looked into his eyes and saw the truth. He wasn't lying about the danger. "Okay," she whispered. "But Jacob can't know about any of this. He's 8. He still has nightmares about his father dying. I won't let him be scared." Something softened in Dae-hyun's expression. "He won't be, I promise." Despite everything, Ashley believed him. Jacob arrived at midnight, carried by Nathan, half asleep with his stuffed basketball clutched in one hand. "Mommy?" Jacob mumbled as Nathan set him on the sofa. "Where are we?" Ashley pulled him into her arms. "We're staying somewhere different tonight. Is that okay?" Jacob's gaze landed on Dae-hyun, who stood near the windows, trying not to look intimidating. "Who's that?" "This is Mr. Kang. He's a friend. He's letting us stay here." Dae-hyun moved forward slowly, crouching to Jacob's eye level. "You can call me Dae-hyun. That's a good basketball. Do you play?" Jacob nodded shyly. "At school. I'm pretty good at free throws. Free throws are important. Shows discipline." Dae-hyun smiled slightly. "I used to play when I was young. Not as well as I wanted, but I tried." "Really? Did you do the fadeaway shot?" "I attempted many. Most missed badly. But some worked. That's all you can ask for. Keep trying until more work than don't." Ashley watched this interaction with surprise. This dangerous man was talking to her son about basketball with genuine patience. "Jacob needs to sleep," Ashley said softly. Dae-hyun nodded. "The master bedroom is through there. You and Jacob take it. I'll stay out here. There's a lock on the door. Use it. We can't take your bed." "Yes, you can." His tone left no room for argument. The bedroom was larger than Ashley's entire apartment. Jacob was asleep almost before his head hit the pillow. Ashley locked the door as suggested, then sat on the edge of the bed. Through the crack she could see light from the main room and hear Dae-hyun speaking in Korean on the phone. Eventually, she lay down beside her son and fell into exhausted sleep. She woke to sunlight and the smell of coffee. Dae-hyun stood in the kitchen in dark jeans and a black t-shirt that revealed his muscular build. His hair was damp from a recent shower. "It's my mother's name," Dae-hyun said without looking up, catching her staring at his tattoo. "Hae-jin. She died when I was 16. I'm sorry. It was a long time ago." He held out a mug. "Coffee?" "I had breakfast delivered." On the table was an impressive spread. Fruit, pastries, pancakes, eggs, bacon. "This is too much. Jacob's growing. He'll eat." Dae-hyun's lips quirked. "Besides, I wasn't sure what you liked." Jacob appeared, eyes widening at the food. "Whoa. Good morning. Are you hungry?" Dae-hyun asked. Jacob nodded enthusiastically. Dae-hyun adjusted Jacob's chair, set a plate before him, poured juice with careful attention. "What would you like? Pancakes? Eggs? Can I have pancakes with strawberries?" "Of course." Dae-hyun prepared the plate, cutting the pancakes into manageable pieces. Ashley realized he'd done this before, cared for a child, anticipated needs. "No wife, no children. Before you wonder," Dae-hyun said, glancing up. "I wasn't. You were. It's a fair question, but the answer is no. I've never made anyone my wife. Until yesterday, apparently." They ate in relative silence, Jacob asking occasional questions about the suite and whether there were video games. There weren't, but Dae-hyun made a note to acquire some. After breakfast, Dae-hyun's phone buzzed. His expression hardened. "I need to speak with you privately." Ashley set Jacob up with cartoons before joining Dae-hyun near the windows. "Victor's people have been busy," Dae-hyun said quietly. "They've dug into your background, found your address, Jacob's school, your work schedule. They know about Lauren, your mother's death, your financial situation." Ashley's hands clenched. "What does that mean?" "We need to move quickly." He showed her a document on his phone. "In-ho has arranged for a marriage certificate backdated 6 months, private ceremony. You kept your last name. We've been living separately due to my travel, but now I'm settling in Chicago, so you and Jacob are moving in." "That's fraud. That's survival. The certificate will pass scrutiny, but we need to sell it. You'll need to be seen with me. We'll need photographs, evidence of a relationship, and you and Jacob will need to stay here until the threat passes." "For how long?" "I don't know. But they're watching your apartment, the hotel, Jacob's school. The only place they can't reach you is here. I have to work, I have bills, Lauren's tuition. I'll handle your financial obligations. You're taking risks by helping me. It's only fair you're compensated." Pride warred with practicality. "I don't want your money, but you'll take it, because it's not about what you want, it's about what Jacob needs, what Lauren needs. There's no shame in accepting help, especially when this situation is my fault." He was right. "Okay, but we establish rules. Jacob doesn't see anything illegal. He doesn't witness violence. He doesn't know what you really do. To him, you're just a businessman. Yes, I would never expose a child to my world. And when this is over, we go back to our normal lives. This arrangement ends." Something flashed through Dae-hyun's eyes. "When it's safe, yes, you'll be free to leave." "Mom?" Jacob called. "Can I have more juice?" As Ashley moved to the kitchen, she felt Dae-hyun's eyes following her, and couldn't shake the feeling that something had shifted between them, something that felt dangerously like the beginning of something real. 3 days passed in the strange bubble of the penthouse. Ashley quit the hotel via phone. Christian Martinez sputtered about proper notice. She didn't care. The diner was easier. Family emergency, 2 weeks off. Lauren was hardest. Her sister was perceptive, immediately sensing something was off when Ashley claimed she was staying with a new boyfriend. "A boyfriend? Since when? And a penthouse?" Lauren's voice was skeptical. "What's really going on?" "I'm fine. I'll explain soon. Just trust me. And I'm sending money for next semester's tuition early." The money, Dae-hyun's money, bought her sister's cautious acceptance. Life in the suite developed an unexpected rhythm. Mornings began with Dae-hyun already awake, coffee made, breakfast ordered. He worked from the office, speaking rapid Korean on video calls, while Ashley kept Jacob entertained. Nathan brought books, puzzles, then video games. Evenings were stranger. Dae-hyun would emerge at 6 o'clock precisely, closing his laptop with finality, focusing entirely on them. He'd ask about Jacob's day, listen with genuine interest to enthusiastic descriptions of games played and books read. He'd play chess with Jacob, teach him card tricks that made her son giggle. Ashley watched this dangerous man transform into someone patient and kind. Watched his eyes soften when Jacob laughed, his demeanor shift from cold authority to something warmer. On the fourth night after Jacob slept, Ashley found Dae-hyun on the balcony. The Chicago skyline stretched before him, glittering with lights. He held whiskey, shoulders tight with tension. "Can I join you?" He glanced back, surprised. "It's cold. I've lived in Chicago my whole life. I can handle cold." A ghost of a smile touched his lips. He poured a second glass and handed it to her. They stood in silence, watching the city. "Thank you," she said finally, "for being so good with Jacob. You didn't have to be. He's a good kid, smart, kind. You've raised him well." Pride bloomed in Ashley's chest. "It hasn't been easy. After his father died, I worried I wasn't enough." "Parents who worry they're not enough are usually the ones doing the best job," Dae-hyun said quietly. "The ones who don't worry are the problem." There was old pain in his tone. "Your mother, Hye-jin, what was she like?" Silence stretched so long, Ashley thought he wouldn't answer. Then slowly, strong, stubborn. "She refused to let my father's world consume her, even when it eventually killed her. She wanted me to be different, better than the legacy I was born into. I've spent 20 years trying to honor that wish while running the very organization she hated. Why do you run it if she wanted something different? Because by the time she died, I was already too deep. I had people depending on me. Because I'm good at it. And sometimes being good at something violent and necessary is the only way to protect people who aren't. That's a lonely way to live." "Yes, it is." Ashley considered this. "What was your father like? Cruel, powerful, dead?" "He taught me everything about running an organization, and everything about what kind of man I never want to become." "You're not cruel," Ashley said with certainty. He looked at her then, really looked at her, vulnerability flickering in his eyes. "You don't know what I've done, what I'm capable of. I know what I've seen. I've seen you with my son. I've seen you make sure he's safe and fed and happy. I've seen you check on him before bed, even though you think I'm asleep." She stepped closer. "Maybe you've done terrible things, but with us, you've been nothing but kind. Kind is a liability in my world. Then maybe you need more of it." They stood inches apart now, close enough to feel the heat between them. "You should go inside," Dae-hyun said, voice rough. "It's late." But Ashley didn't move. Something was happening between them, something that had been building since that first night. "Dae-hyun," his phone buzzed. He glanced at it, expression immediately hardening. "Get inside, now, wake Jacob. Nathan's on his way up." Fear spiked through her. "What's wrong?" "Victor knows the marriage certificate is backdated. He's questioning the timeline." Dae-hyun pulled her toward the door. "Which means he's going to test whether we're really married." "How?" Dae-hyun's eyes met hers with genuine worry. "By seeing if I'm willing to let you be hurt to maintain the fiction, or if I'll protect you like a real husband would." Ice flooded Ashley's veins. "He's coming here." "No, somewhere public. Tomorrow. He's invited us to dinner." Dae-hyun's hands gripped her shoulders. "Tomorrow night, you're going to have to pretend to be more than my cover story. You're going to have to pretend to be my wife. Really pretend. Affection. Intimacy. Believable intimacy. Can you do that?" A different emotion entirely stirred in Ashley's chest, something dangerous and warm. "Yes," she whispered. "I can do that." Dae-hyun's eyes searched hers. Whatever he found made his grip tighten. "Tomorrow changes everything. Once we do this publicly, there's no going back. Victor will watch for any weakness, any hint we're lying. You'll have to commit completely, do you understand?" "I understand." "And Jacob, he'll see us acting like a couple. Are you comfortable with that?" Ashley thought about her son, about how he'd been asking why Mr. Kang didn't sleep in the bedroom like normal families, about how Jacob looked at Dae-hyun with hope. Jacob's already wondering. He's been asking questions about whether you're going to stay. Pain flickered across Dae-hyun's face. "What did you tell him?" "That you're a friend, that we're staying here temporarily. But Dae-hyun, he's starting to see you as someone permanent. When this ends, when we leave, it's going to hurt him." "I know, I'm sorry, but there's no other way. I can't risk you and Jacob being exposed to Victor's retaliation. The only way to keep you safe is to make this lie so convincing that he believes it completely." "Okay, tomorrow night, we'll convince him." Dae-hyun nodded, but didn't release her shoulders. His thumbs traced small circles against her collarbone. "Ashley," he said quietly, "when we're in public tomorrow, I'm going to touch you. Touch you the way a man touches his wife. Are you prepared for that?" Heat flooded Ashley's face. "Yes. And if Victor pushes, if he makes you uncomfortable, you stay close to me. You don't react. You let me handle it. Understood?" "Understood." They stood there for a moment longer, city lights washing over them, the weight of tomorrow hanging between them like a promise and a threat. Then Dae-hyun released her and stepped back, creating professional distance. But Ashley could still feel the phantom warmth of his hands, could still see the conflict in his eyes. Tomorrow she would pretend to be his wife. Tomorrow she would sell a fiction that was starting to feel dangerously real. The restaurant Victor chose was Noir, an exclusive Gold Coast establishment where reservations required money or influence. Ashley had never been anywhere this elegant, but tonight, courtesy of a shopping trip with a stylist Nathan produced, she wore a fitted black dress that hugged her curves. Her natural hair, usually in practical braids, was styled into soft, defined curls framing her face. Diamond earrings, borrowed from Dae-hyun's collection, caught the light. Dae-hyun stood beside her in a perfectly tailored black suit, his hand possessively on the small of her back. "Remember," he murmured, "you love me. You've been married to me for 6 months. This is normal." They'd practiced that afternoon, how to stand together, how to look at each other, how to sell a relationship that didn't exist. The private dining room was elegant. Dark wood, soft lighting, table set for 6. Victor was already seated, flanked by 2 men. He rose when they entered, smile sharp. "Kang Dae-hyun, and the lovely Mrs. Kang. Though I hear you kept your maiden name. How very modern." "Ashley prefers Bennett for professional reasons," Dae-hyun said smoothly, pulling out her chair. As she sat, his hand lingered on her shoulder. "I respect her independence." "Independence, how progressive. In my culture, a wife takes her husband's name, becomes part of his family completely." The implication was clear, testing whether Ashley was truly his wife. Ashley reached up and covered Dae-hyun's hand with hers, threading their fingers together. "My mother raised me to value my identity. Dae-hyun understands that. It's one of the reasons I fell in love with him." Dae-hyun's fingers tightened around hers. He brought their joined hands to his lips and kissed her knuckles, so naturally possessive that heat flooded Ashley's cheeks. "My wife has strong opinions," Dae-hyun said, never leaving her face. "It's one of her most attractive qualities." The way he said "my wife" sent a shiver down Ashley's spine. Dinner was ordered. Expensive wine, elaborate courses. Throughout, Victor maintained steady conversation designed to probe. Where had they met? How long before marrying? Had Ashley met Dae-hyun's family? What did she think of his business? Ashley fielded questions with prepared answers. They'd met at a charity event at the hotel. He'd been struck by her intelligence and grace. Dated 4 months before he proposed during a private dinner. She'd met his organization's leadership via video calls, but hadn't yet traveled to Korea due to Jacob's school schedule. Through it all, Dae-hyun maintained constant contact, hand on her thigh under the table, arm across the back of her chair, fingers playing with curls at her neck. Each touch projected intimacy. But somewhere during the meal, the touches stopped feeling calculated. Ashley stopped thinking about performance and started responding instinctively. When his fingers traced patterns on her thigh, she leaned into him. When his hand cupped her neck, she turned toward him with a soft smile. When he whispered something about the wine, she laughed quietly, her hand resting on his chest, and Dae-hyun looked at her like she was the only person in the room. "You seem very much in love," Victor observed. "It's quite touching. But tell me, Ashley, what does your family think of your husband's business? I imagine it must be concerning. A single mother, a hotel worker, marrying into such a complicated world." The question was a trap. Dae-hyun tensed beside her. "My family trusts my judgment, and they see how Dae-hyun treats me and my son. That's what matters." "Your son?" "Jacob." "Yes?" 8 years old. He attends Parker Elementary School in Bridgeport. Such a bright boy, I hear." Ashley's blood went cold. Victor knew where her son went to school. The threat was unmistakable. Dae-hyun's entire body went rigid. His hand on her thigh tightened until almost painful. When he spoke, his voice carried a deadly edge. "Touch my son," Dae-hyun said, each word precise and sharp, "and I will burn your entire organization to the ground. I will start with your lieutenants and work my way up. I will make sure every person you've ever cared about knows exactly what you did before I end them. And then, Victor, I will come for you personally. Do you understand me?" My son, not Ashley's son. My son. Ashley's heart stopped. She looked at Dae-hyun and saw pure protective rage. He meant every word. Victor's smile froze. His men shifted, hands moving toward weapons. The room balanced on a knife's edge. Then Ashley did something from pure instinct. She placed her hand over Dae-hyun's clenched fist and spoke softly. Dae-hyun. Just his name, gentle and grounding. It's okay. I'm here. Incredibly, his tension eased fractionally. His eyes shifted from Victor to Ashley, and something softened. His hand turned under hers, threading their fingers together. Anyone who threatens my family answers to me, he said, quieter but no less dangerous. That includes my wife. That includes my son. That includes anyone under my protection. Make sure your people understand that, Victor. Victor studied them, the protective fury in Dae-hyun's eyes, the way Ashley held his hand naturally, the unmistakable reality of their connection. I see, Victor said finally. You truly are married. I apologize for my thoroughness, but you understand in our business we must be certain. We're certain now, are we finished? Victor gestured graciously. Of course. Give my regards to young Jacob. They left in tense silence. Nathan was waiting with the car, and the moment they were inside with privacy, Dae-hyun pulled Ashley against him, burying his face in her hair. I'm sorry, he threatened Jacob. I'm sorry I lost control. Ashley's hands came to his chest, feeling his pounding heart. You called him your son. I know. In the moment, I couldn't let Victor think he could touch Jacob without consequences. I couldn't. You meant it, Ashley said softly. Dae-hyun pulled back to look at her. Yes, I meant it. These past few days, watching him, talking with him, seeing him smile, I've started to care about him. More than is wise. More than is safe for any of us. And me? The question slipped out. Do you care about me? Slowly, Dae-hyun raised one hand to cup her face, thumb tracing her cheekbone. You have to ask, he said quietly. Ashley's breath caught. In the dim car interior, Dae-hyun looked at her like she was something precious. This was supposed to be temporary, she whispered. A convenient fiction. I know, but it doesn't feel temporary anymore. No, it doesn't. He was going to kiss her. She could see it in his eyes, feel it in the way his hand curved around her jaw. Then his phone buzzed, and buzzed again, and kept buzzing. Dae-hyun closed his eyes, frustration crossing his features. He checked his phone, and whatever he saw made his expression harden. What is it? Fear crept into Ashley's voice. Victor wasn't testing whether we're married. He was distracting us. While we were at dinner, his people moved against one of my operations, hit a warehouse on the south side, took out 3 of my men, stole a shipment worth $2 million. Oh, God. Are your people okay? 2 are in the hospital, 1 is dead. Dae-hyun's jaw clenched. This is war. Victor just declared it. And now I have to respond, or I look weak, which means things are about to get much more dangerous. For all of us. What do? We survive. We protect Jacob. We stay together. And we pray that when this is over, there's something left worth saving. He reached for her hand, threading their fingers together. And Ashley held on tight, knowing everything was about to change, knowing the man beside her was about to show her exactly what he was capable of when someone he cared about was threatened, knowing that despite the danger, despite the impossibility, she was falling for him anyway, and there was no going back. The penthouse transformed overnight into a fortress. Nathan coordinated with a security team, 6 men positioning themselves throughout the floor, monitoring cameras, checking entrances. In-ho arrived before dawn, conferring with Dae-hyun in rapid Korean. Ashley tried to maintain normalcy for Jacob. She made breakfast, played games, read stories. But Jacob wasn't fooled. Why are all these people here? He asked as Ashley tucked him in that night. Are we in trouble? We're not in trouble, baby. Dae-hyun just wants to make sure we're extra safe. Because of the bad men? The ones who came that first night? Ashley froze. You knew about that. I heard you and Dae-hyun talking. I heard him say people were watching us. Jacob's eyes filled with tears. I'm scared. I don't want anything bad to happen to you. Or to Dae-hyun. Before Ashley could respond, Dae-hyun's voice came from the doorway. Nothing bad is going to happen to your mother, he said, entering and crouching beside the bed. Or to you. I promise you that. Do you believe me? Jacob studied his face with solemn intensity. Are you going to stay? After the bad men go away? The question hung in the air, loaded with hope and fear. Dae-hyun's eyes met Ashley's over Jacob's head. I'm going to make sure you and your mother are safe, Dae-hyun said carefully. No matter what that takes, no matter how long, that's my promise. Jacob reached out and wrapped his arms around Dae-hyun's neck, holding tight. And Dae-hyun held an 8-year-old boy and closed his eyes like he was memorizing the moment. After Jacob slept, Ashley found Dae-hyun on the balcony. She brought 2 glasses of whiskey and handed him one. Thank you for what you said to him. I meant it. Every word. I know. But Dae-hyun, what happens when this is over? When Victor isn't a threat? You can't keep us here forever. Jacob needs school, needs his normal life, and I can't keep living in suspended reality. I know. Ashley, there's something I need to tell you. Something I should have told you days ago. Dread pooled in her stomach. What? Victor isn't the only one investigating. I've had my people looking into his organization, and we found something. Evidence of operations that, if exposed to the right authorities, would bring his entire enterprise down. Trafficking routes, money laundering, connections to corrupt officials, everything needed to destroy him legally. Then why haven't you done it? Because if I'd moved immediately, Victor would have known it came from me. It would have started a war lasting years, costing dozens of lives. Dae-hyun's expression was grim. But now, after his attack, I have justification. I can release the information through channels that make it look like an anonymous tip from one of his own people. He'll be arrested, his organization will collapse, and the war ends before it begins. How long until it's safe? In-ho is coordinating with the FBI now. 48 hours, maybe less. Dae-hyun's eyes searched hers. 2 days and you and Jacob can go home. Back to your normal life, back to everything before you walked into my suite. Ashley should have felt relief. Instead, something cracked inside her chest. And you? What happens to you? I go back to my world, deal with the fallout, rebuild, continue doing what I've always done. Business as usual. Without us. Without you. It's safer that way. Victor won't be the last enemy I make. And I won't risk you or Jacob being caught in crossfire again. Ashley understood the logic, but understanding didn't make it hurt less. What if I don't want to go? Dae-hyun's eyes widened. Ashley, what if I don't want to pretend these days didn't happen? What if I don't want to go back to scrubbing toilets and never seeing you again? Her voice strengthened. What if I've fallen for you? What if Jacob has? What if we want this to be real? Dae-hyun closed the distance in 2 strides, his hands framing her face with gentleness, contrasting the intensity in his eyes. You don't know what you're saying. You don't know what my life is really like, the danger, the violence, the constant threat. I can't subject you to that. Then change it. You said your mother wanted you to be different, so be different. Find a way to have both, your organization and us. Their wives were born into this life, they understand the risks. You didn't choose this, you were forced into it. And what if I'm choosing it now? What if I'm saying I want to stay, knowing exactly what that means? What if I'm brave enough to try if you are? Dae-hyun's forehead dropped to rest against hers. You're too good for this? Too good for me. That's not your decision to make. Ashley, In-ho burst onto the balcony, phone in hand, expression urgent. It's done. FBI just raided Victor's primary location. They're arresting everyone. It's over. The words should have brought relief. Instead, they felt like a countdown starting. Dae-hyun pulled back, expression carefully controlled. Good, maintain surveillance. Let me know if any of Victor's people slip through. In-ho nodded and disappeared, leaving them alone with everything unsaid. I should get some rest, Dae-hyun said, not meeting her eyes. Tomorrow will be busy. Dae-hyun, please, Ashley. Don't make this harder than it already is. His voice cracked slightly. Ashley wanted to argue, to make him admit he felt what she felt. But she saw the pain in his face, the way his hands clenched like he was physically restraining himself, so she went inside. But as she lay beside Jacob, listening to his peaceful breathing, Ashley made a decision. She'd spent her life playing it safe, accepting the hand she was dealt, never fighting for more than survival. But Dae-hyun was worth fighting for. This chance at something real, that was worth fighting for. And tomorrow, she would make him see that. The next evening, Dae-hyun returned looking exhausted, tie loosened, hair disheveled, shadows under his eyes. He stopped when he saw her waiting. Ashley, I thought you'd be asleep. We need to talk. Really talk. No more deflecting. Dae-hyun nodded and sat across from her. All right, talk. Do you care about me, about Jacob? Not as obligations, but as people you want in your life. You know I do. Then say it. Out loud. No qualifications. Silence stretched, then slowly. I care about you, both of you, more than I thought possible. When Victor threatened Jacob, I wanted to destroy him. When I see you smile, something in my chest feels lighter than it has in years. When I imagine you leaving, going back to your life without me, I feel something I haven't felt since my mother died." He paused. "I feel loss." Ashley's breath caught. "Then why are you pushing us away?" "Because caring about you puts you in danger. Because loving you—" He stopped, eyes widening at his own words. "Because loving you makes you a target for everyone who wants to hurt me." "Loving me? You love me?" Dae-hyun closed his eyes. "Yes, I love you. I've probably loved you since that first night when you didn't panic, when you trusted me. But loving you doesn't mean I should keep you. It means I should let you go before someone uses my feelings against you." Ashley crossed to him, kneeling before his chair. "Dae-hyun, listen carefully. I've spent 8 years living in fear. Fear that I couldn't provide for Jacob. Fear that something would happen to him. Fear that I'd never be more than a survivor, never have anything beautiful or worth risking myself for. And then you happened. You, this impossible, dangerous, beautiful man who makes my son laugh and holds me like I'm precious and looks at me like I matter. You think I'm afraid of your world? I'm terrified. But I'm more afraid of living without you, of never knowing what we could be if we tried. Ashley, I love you. I love you. And Jacob loves you. And we want to stay. Not because we're forced to, not because we don't have options, but because we choose you, we choose this, we choose us. If you'll have us." Dae-hyun's control finally broke. He pulled Ashley up and into his lap, arms wrapping around her with desperate strength, face buried in her neck. "You're sure? You understand what you're agreeing to? The security, the danger, the complications." "I'm sure. I've never been more sure." Dae-hyun pulled back to look at her, and Ashley saw everything. Love, fear, hope, determination. "Then we do this right. We make it real. Proper marriage, proper protection, proper everything. I'm not letting you go, Ashley Bennett. Not now, not ever. Promise me. I promise to keep you safe. I promise to love Jacob like my own son. I promise to be worthy of the trust you're placing in me. I promise—" Ashley kissed him, cutting off his words. It was their first real kiss. Not performance, not calculation, but something genuine and necessary. Dae-hyun responded immediately, one hand tangling in her hair, the other splaying across her back. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, Dae-hyun rested his forehead against hers. "There's one more thing. I've been thinking about what you said, about my mother wanting me to be different. You're right. It's time I found a way to honor her legacy while handling my responsibilities. I'm going to start transitioning the organization's operations to legitimate businesses. It won't happen overnight, but I want Jacob to grow up knowing people can change, that we're not defined by where we come from, but by the choices we make." Ashley's eyes filled with tears. "She would have loved you for that, and she would have loved us." "Yeah, I think she would have." They sat together in the quiet, Chicago glittering beyond the windows, the weight finally lifting into something like hope. "We should tell Jacob. He should know this is permanent. Together. Together." They found Jacob in the bedroom with In-ho, who'd been teaching him Korean phrases. When Jacob saw them enter together, hands joined, matching smiles, his eyes went wide. "Are you guys—" "Yeah, buddy," Dae-hyun said, crouching down. "We are. Your mom and I. We'd like to make this permanent, all of us together. What do you think?" Jacob's response was to launch himself at Dae-hyun, wrapping his arms around his neck. "Does that mean you're going to be my dad?" Dae-hyun's eyes met Ashley's, asking silent permission. She nodded, tears streaming. "Yeah, if you want me to be, I'll be your dad. I want you to be. I want it more than anything." Ashley joined them, wrapping her arms around both her son and the man she loved, feeling for the first time in years like everything might actually be okay. In-ho cleared his throat. "I'll just give you some privacy." He smiled before leaving. That night, after Jacob fell asleep, Dae-hyun and Ashley stood on the balcony one more time. But this time, everything was different. This time, when Dae-hyun pulled her close, it wasn't for show. It was because she was his, and he was hers, and they'd chosen each other. "Thank you for believing in me, for choosing this, for not running when any sane person would have. Thank you for being worth staying for loving my son, for loving me, for being brave enough to let us in. Always. I'll always let you in. I'll always choose you, both of you. That's my vow, Ashley. Not because Victor forced our hand, but because it's what I want. Forever." "Forever," Ashley agreed, and kissed him again beneath the Chicago stars. And this time it wasn't pretend. It was simply true. 6 months later, Ashley stood in the master bedroom of a new home, a beautiful house in a quiet neighborhood with good schools and tree-lined streets. Not the penthouse, but something that felt more like a real home, where Jacob could have a yard and friends over. Through the window, she saw Dae-hyun teaching Jacob to shoot basketball in their driveway, both laughing as Jacob's shot bounced off the rim. Things had changed. Dae-hyun had been true to his word. He'd started transitioning toward legitimate businesses, using his resources to build legal enterprises, while carefully extracting himself from dangerous operations. It was slow, complicated work, but he was committed. For her, for Jacob, for their future. They'd gotten married, really married 3 months ago in a small ceremony. Lauren had been there, initially suspicious, but won over by seeing how Dae-hyun treated her sister and nephew. Megan had been maid of honor, crying through the ceremony. In-ho had been best man, his normally stoic expression suspiciously soft. When the officiant pronounced them husband and wife, when Dae-hyun kissed her with all the love in his heart, Ashley knew with absolute certainty she'd made the right choice. The agency had been Ashley's idea, a legitimate employment service helping disadvantaged people find good jobs with fair wages. Dae-hyun provided funding and business expertise, but Ashley ran daily operations. They'd already placed over 30 people in life-changing positions. "Mommy," Jacob's voice called, "come watch, I'm getting really good." Ashley smiled and headed downstairs. As she stepped into the driveway, Dae-hyun caught her hand, pulling her close for a quick kiss. "Hey, beautiful. How was your day?" "Productive. We placed 3 more people today." Ashley leaned into him. "How about you?" "Conference calls with Korea, meeting with lawyers. Nathan sends his regards. He's been teaching Jacob Korean phrases." Dae-hyun's hand traced familiar patterns on her hip. "And I've been thinking about how a year ago I was alone in a hotel suite, waiting for enemies. About how desperate I was when you walked through that door. About how a single moment, a single choice to trust you changed everything. About how the best thing that ever happened to me was you being in the wrong place at the wrong time." Ashley reached up to cup his face. "It wasn't the wrong place. It was exactly where I needed to be, with you, building this. I love you, I'll never get tired of saying that." "Good, because I'll never get tired of hearing it." Jacob made a triumphant sound, having sunk a basket. He turned with a brilliant smile. "Did you see? We saw, that was perfect." Dae-hyun jogged over and lifted Jacob in celebration. Jacob's laughter rang out clear and happy. Ashley watched the 2 people she loved most with a full heart. This was happiness, not perfection. They still had challenges, still navigated Dae-hyun's world, still dealt with occasional threats, but they faced it together, as family, as partners who'd chosen each other against impossible odds and built something beautiful from desperate beginnings. Her phone buzzed with a text from Megan. "Lunch next week. Dying to hear about the benefit gala you guys are planning." Ashley texted back confirmation. Life was full now, rich with relationships and purpose and love, so different from the exhausted single mother working doubles just to keep lights on, that Ashley still existed inside her, still remembered what struggling felt like. But now she used that experience to help others, to make sure desperate people had someone who saw them, who believed in them, who gave them a chance, just like Dae-hyun had given her a chance that night. "Ashley," Dae-hyun had returned, Jacob perched on his shoulders. "What are you thinking about? About how far we've come, about how impossible this seemed 6 months ago, about how grateful I am that you didn't let me walk away. I couldn't. From the moment I pulled you close that first night, I knew you were different, special, mine. I just had to convince you. You did. Every day you convince me. Every time you play with Jacob, every time you hold me, every time you choose us, you convince me this love is real and strong and worth every risk." Jacob announced he was hungry. They headed inside together, Ashley, Dae-hyun, and Jacob, a family that shouldn't have existed but did. A family born from danger that had transformed into something genuine and lasting. As they prepared dinner in their kitchen, laughing over Jacob's school stories and Dae-hyun's terrible vegetable-cutting attempts, Ashley caught their reflection in the window. 3 people who loved each other fiercely, 3 people who'd fought for this moment, this life, this happiness, and she thought again about that night, the moment everything changed. The moment a desperate man claimed a stranger as his wife, and discovered that sometimes the best things come from the most impossible circumstances. Sometimes, the right person walks into your life at exactly the moment you need them most. Sometimes, love finds you in the last place you'd expect. And sometimes, pretending to be someone's wife becomes the realest, truest thing you've ever done. Ashley smiled, leaning into Dae-hyun's side as he wrapped an arm around her, and knew their story, however impossible its beginning, was just getting started.